Hello and welcome to the latest edition of Destination Paris, where every week we bring you the latest on the build-up to the start of the Olympic Games, which begins here in the French capital in just 43 days' time. Well, as all the pieces start to fall into place, one question that remains unanswered is who will carry the French flag at the opening ceremony? We're now one step closer to knowing. On Thursday, the National Olympic and Sports Committee released a list of 14 athletes. As you can see here, it includes 6 men and 8 women. As in Tokyo in 2021, there will be 2 selected, 1 man and 1 woman from different sports. It is the members of the French delegation themselves who will designate their flag bearers via an electronic vote to be held between the 9th and 10th of July, with the results being made public 2 days later. For the first time ever, the Olympics opening ceremony will of course be held outside the host stadium. Instead, it will take place on the River Seine, with boats representing each country. These boats will be equipped with cameras to allow television and online viewers to see the athletes up close. It's a novel and exciting idea. Here's what some of the athletes who will be taking part had to say.
I think it's going to be, I think everything's going to be so nice. Paris is just too beautiful. And I think, having the opening ceremony in the river, are we going to be on boats? I think that's also nice because then you don't have to walk. I like that because I don't like to walk that much. I like to chill and rest my legs.
Well, having had the gift of being on the road as a traveling athlete for almost a decade now, I can say I have been on a boat on the Seine during the summer in Paris. And so having walked these streets before, having gone down the river, having seen the sights will make it seem all the more beautiful when I have all the people I care about there with me.
Well, since Sunday evening and Emmanuel Macron's decision to dissolve the National Assembly, France has entered a political crisis, a crisis that some fear could have real repercussions for the Games, with demonstrations and protests possibly targeting the event. The instability and uncertainty surrounding the government is inevitably causing concern within the organising committee and the IOC, although President of the committee, Thomas Bach, prefers to remain positive.
Paris is not only on track to deliver the first ever Olympic Games aligned with our Olympic agenda reforms, but they are ready, they are set.
Well, that meeting where Thomas Bach was speaking from brought more good news for France, as it now looks almost certain that they'll be hosting another Olympic Games in just 6 years' time. France 2030 and Salt Lake City 2034 got the nod from the board, the penultimate step towards becoming Olympic Winter Games hosts. The bids will now await a vote of the Olympic body's session in Paris on July the 24th in what is largely a rubber stamping of the Executive Board's recommendation. The French bid involves the Auvergne-Rhône-Alpes and Provence-Alpes-Côte d'Azur regions. Back to 2024 now, and one name to look out for in Paris is that of Ariarne Titmus. The Australian obliterated the 200 metres freestyle world record at the Australian Olympic trials on Wednesday, upsetting the previous holder, Molly O'Callaghan, in an exhilarating final. Olympic champion Titmus's time of 1 minute 52.23 seconds at the Brisbane Aquatic Centre shaved off more than half a second off O'Callaghan's mark. She'll certainly be the one to beat in Paris. And speaking after her victory, Titmus tried to explain why Australia are so dominant when it comes to swimming.
Definitely. I think the reason why we're so dominant as a country in women's freestyle from the 50 all the way up through to the distance events is because you can never rest on your laurels. You really have to be at your best at every major competition to make the Olympic team. People missed out on that 200 final tonight. They were on podiums from previous Olympic teams just because it's so hard to get through to the final 8. So I think definitely that plays a major role. And the fact that we all train together as well and we push each other every day plays a big part as well.
Well, as we've heard, the Australians will be a strong medal threat in the swimming, which will take place at the La Défense Arena to the west of Paris. Preparations have seen Europe's largest concert hall turned into an Olympic swimming pool. The project was unveiled on Wednesday. The Games organisers took over the keys to the hall after 4 Taylor Swift concerts in May, with a gigantic hall now divided in 2 by a large opaque curtain. On one side, the training pool and athletes' changing rooms. On the other, the racing pool in front of the stands, designed for 15,000 spectators and 3,000 journalists on a temporary stand. Here's the managing director of the organising committee describing how much of a challenge the project has been.
There are a lot of challenges. There's a time challenge because we're always working within planning constraints. There are weight issues. It weighs 15 tons with water. It's very heavy. There are ventilation issues, air circulation issues, all sorts of challenges. Issues, of course, with lighting, sound, soundproofing, and so on. So it's a complex project, but one that's within the reach of our experts.
Ahead of the Games, our teams across the world have been following the preparations of several athletes, and it's time now for our first episode in our series about Anshu Malik, one of India's top female wrestlers. Our team went along to one of her training sessions to discover how she's trying to prepare to win the greatest prize of all, Olympic gold medal.
From the first day, people have been saying, I have to win a medal at the Olympic Games. This is every athlete's dream, to stand on that podium and make your nation, your family and coaches proud.
In 3 years, Anshu Malik has become one of India's top wrestlers. She won a silver at the Commonwealth Games and a gold at the Asian Wrestling Championship. The 22-year-old now has her sights on the ultimate prize, a gold at the Paris Olympic Games. Behind her steep climb, her father. A former professional wrestler, he has never missed a training session.
Come on, Anshu, attack from the side. Go behind. I remember my old days as a wrestler when I see her. I want to see Anshu fulfill my dream of winning an Olympic medal. For the last 11 to 12 years, I've dedicated all my time to my daughter.
For the last 3 years, Anshu has followed the same routine, training sessions for up to 7 hours a day, 6 days a week.
I love the sport because it runs in my veins. I won my first fight when I was 11 years old. People gave me a lot of love. They congratulated me and motivated me. It felt so good. That's when I decided that wrestling will be my life.
Top wrestlers train at this academy. Anshu is the only woman. There are no other female wrestlers of her size in her district, so she trains with men, opponents who are faster, heavier, and harder to beat.
When you train with men and do well, it becomes easier to beat women. There aren't many female wrestlers of my level here. If there were, I would have stayed at my old academy where I'd been training for a decade.
She is now preparing for her next bout, the selection before the Olympic qualifiers.
That's good. Don't stop. Go left, right, grab him by the back of the neck. Her biggest strength is her discipline. That's her asset. Before, if she was attacked from the side, she would lose points. But she worked on it, and now she can counter those moves. She turned her weakness into her strength.
Anshu will face the best female wrestlers in the country in a few days. Her first step on the long road to Paris.
Well, the official presentation of the Spanish Olympic team's new kit for the Games took place on Monday evening in Toledo, central Spain. The kit has been designed by Spanish sportswear brand Joma for the third consecutive Games, and there will be a couple of very familiar faces who will be wearing these kits. On Wednesday, world number 2 Carlos Alcaraz and 22-time Grand Slam champion Rafael Nadal announced that they will be teaming up in the doubles tennis tournament in Paris. Nadal won an Olympic gold medal in 2008, but the Paris Games will be Alcaraz's first as he returns to Roland Garros, where he was crowned French Open champion just recently. Nadal's participation was up in the air with the 14 times French Open champion still not his best following injuries, and now the 38-year-old has said he will skip Wimbledon at the end of this month in order to prepare for the Olympic Games. So that's 2 more superstars who will be battling it out in Paris. But one man who has ruled himself out is Lionel Messi. Speaking on Thursday, the 36-year-old confirmed that he will not be a part of Argentina's squad for the Olympics, saying that he's no longer at an age where he can play in every tournament. In February, under-23 manager Javier Mascherano said the 8-time Ballon d'Or winner, who won gold with Argentina at the 2008 Beijing Olympics, had an open invitation to join the squad in Paris, but it's an invitation that Messi has politely declined. The men's football tournament takes place in July and August, with teams allowed 3 overage players in their squads. Well, that's all we have time for in this edition of Destination Paris. Thank you for watching, and join us at the same time next week, 8:15 Paris time, to discover all the latest going on in the Olympic world. Stay tuned for more world news on France 24, just a few minutes' time.